Next up, it's an away trip to Norwich. Connor from the Pinken Norwich City podcast is with us to preview the game. Welcome back, Connor. How are you?
Hi, guys. I'm not too bad. How are you all?
I have to say the tree's looking very good.
I thought I had to get it shot, didn't I? Had to get it shot.
If you're watching the live stream, we've got a lot to talk about. I think since the last time we met, you've changed the manager, we've changed the manager, things are a bit tough at the moment. Is that fair to say?
Yes, more than fair to say, I think, albeit maybe not as tough as they were 3 or 4 weeks ago. I think that's also fair to say. Been a disastrous season, really. I think you can't really hide that or use any different word for it. How long have you guys got, really, is probably where I would start, because it's been a little bit like that this season from a Norwich perspective. Obviously, sacked Yanisov tore up at Easter time, had Jack Wilshere for 2 games, then Liam Manning came in on a 4-year deal. He was gone after 15. Championship game 17 in total, including obviously one of the League Cup game against yourself. Didn't win a single game. Left the club as their shortest serving manager with their...
Connor, I think your line's not the best. No, he's completely... Oh, and now he's gone.
Gone.
Well, we'll try and get him back. They've had... we had a good win at their place in the Carabao Cup back in August, Glenn, but it was 2 different managers, 2 different sides. I was looking up the goal scorers today. It was, I think, Ryan Fraser, Matsky scored, and Cameron Archer, and they're not going to be near the starting lineup on Saturday.
No, I mean... Well, Norwich have struggled all season, and we went into that game sort of like not knowing what to expect from them, and we knew a bit about Liam Manning because obviously he was the manager of Bristol City last season, and so we knew he was under pressure. But I think they lost every single home game up until the time they sacked him. We were one of those. So, I mean, we're obviously a completely different team to them, and it remains to be seen how much Norwich have changed under Philippe Clement, who was at Rangers last time I'd heard of him. But no, I don't know too much about him, which is why we got the Norwich guest on to tell us to tell us before he was whisked away. So yeah. So, no, I mean, we've got to go into this game looking to win it, of course.
Yeah.
And again, it's another one where they're not going to be playing with that much confidence. We've got to go in and try and hit them early, which I'm sure is what we will try and do. And that should certainly be the game plan. I don't see any reason why, we couldn't do that. I know it's different players, different manager and all that, but I remember the game against them. Was it 2 years ago when I think David Wagner was the manager, and Norwich set up for 0-0 at home from the first whistle, and ended up spawning the luckiest draw ever, and ruined Sam Edozi's Saints career in the process with Jack Stacey hitching a ride on his ankle. I remember that. It's not that I'm bitter about that, but that's just. I feel that we owe them a beating in the league. So hopefully we can go up there and get the job done.
I think Connor's back with us. We were talking about the 1-1 draw with Sheffield United, which sounded like it might have been a bit of an improved performance. I think there were some injuries in there. There seemed to be a lot going on.
Yeah, sorry, gents. I don't know what's happening to my Wi-Fi tonight. Usually it's okay. It was better. And to be fair, I think that's been a trend under Philippe Clement since he came in. It's been slow, really incremental progression, and that's from a very low base, to be completely honest with you. But yeah, it was better. Worth adding, Sheffield United made 8 changes, so I think there's a degree of that there as well. But just look better structured, more intensity about their play, and probably a simplification as well, which isn't a negative thing at all. I think he's just simplified a lot of what they want to do in terms of the way that they press and in terms of the way that they've set up defensively. They're still going to give up chances. They did last night. They did at Watford, conceded 3 goals. So not completely solved all of the issues, but there's certainly a lot more positivity now than there was prior to him coming in after that Leicester game.
And do you think you will turn it around, Connor? Do you think he's got the squad of people behind him, or is it a bit deeper than that?
Yeah, there's so much to unpack there, really, in terms of him. I mean, as a coach, I've been really impressed by him. And I think you look at his CV, Rangers, Monaco, Belgian titles with Bruges and with Genk, and you kind of scratch your head a little bit and go, why on earth is he here? What is it that has attracted him to coming to Norwich City? And I think that's probably a question we're all still asking ourselves. So yeah, he is clearly very capable, and you can see because of what he's done so far that he is a very capable coach, a very intense guy. I think the squad will have very little choice but to come with him on that because of where they are in the league table. He's got them in training more, for example, more days of the week, which short term is fine. Long term, players can get a little bit fed up of that. So that's maybe an interesting point to keep an eye on. I think, yeah, there's so much to unpick from an Norwich perspective. Their recruitment for a long period of time has raised a lot of questions. They've gone very aggressively towards players who are overseas, who are younger, and they've in some cases spent quite big money by Championship standards, by Norwich City standards, on those players. And I think the problem is now you've got so many of that group who are either in year 1 or year 2 of Championship football. And you guys will know yourself in this league, if you're off it by a percentage, you get punished. And when you've got so many of those players who are adapting to the league, and they're not just being asked to adapt to the league for Norwich to be successful this season, which now is staying in the league, that they have to thrive, they have to be competitive, and that's such a big jump. And they probably don't have enough of those kind of experienced players around them really, beyond Harry Darling, Kenny McLean, Josh Sargent. So yeah, it's an almighty challenge that he's got on his hands, I think, to get this group out of it. 5 points at the moment is a big gap to make up when you're down there and you're struggling. So yeah, I mean, the good thing is he's made a team that 3 weeks ago didn't look like it could win a game or get anywhere near not losing a game to being a lot more competitive. So that has been progress, but equally 5 points from 5 games, point a game, it's not going to keep them in the Championship, I'm afraid. So they're going to have to improve even from where they are at the moment.
And how are you expecting them to set up on Saturday? I know that Josh Sargent might be injured. Who's going to cause us the problems?
Good question. It will be in terms of setup. It will be a 4-2-3-1. That's what Philippe Clement has played pretty exclusively since coming in at Norwich. If Sargent is out, and it looked a bad one last night. Concussion. He looked completely dazed as he walked off the pitch, but one of those where it almost looked like he was out cold when he hit the ground. So, from seeing that all unfold last night, I'd be very shocked if he played on Saturday because of the concussion protocol and having to be externally examined now as well. I think it would be pretty unlikely. So the other thing is Matthias Chris-Goran, who they spent £6.9 million on in the summer from Bromby. He's done his knee before this game, so he's also unavailable at a point where he was beginning to show a little bit of promise. So that leaves Jovan Makama, who is he looks like he's been manufactured in a lab is kind of the best way to put it, because he's so big and he's athletic, but he's a bit chaotic, I think, in the way that he plays. You can see that rawness. They signed him from Lincoln in the summer for £1.2 million, and there's definitely ability there, but yeah, just a rawness to it. So I think he'll probably start up front. And again, a lot of youth in that team. Oscar Schwartz on the left-hand side has sort of really improved in recent weeks, particularly since Clement has come in. Got a goal and an assist at Watford, and I think there's a real talent there, still 19 years of age. So he's one to watch out for. And then they've kind of shuffled the pack a little bit behind Sargent, as it has been. Marcondes has played there, but again, quite inconsistent, really. Amankwa Forson likewise had a brilliant chance last night in the closing stages when he went one-on-one to win the game and squandered that opportunity. So, yeah, there's a few options, but again, it's so many injuries and so many players that are out. I mean, Norwich are about 13 players they're without at the moment, so that gives you a sense of the size and scale of the squad that Philippe Clement is dealing with at the moment.
It's the end of another 3-game week, Alfie. Last time that ended with defeat at Millwall, so nothing is a given. But surely, we're quite confident going into this one.
Yeah, I think, to be fair, it is extremely hard to win all 3 games in a 3-game week in the Championship. I don't think many teams do that. We haven't done it in, obviously, the 3-game weeks we've had this season. I don't remember doing it too often last time. We may well have done, so maybe one of you can correct me. And also, our record at Carrow Road is not particularly great. We've only won one of the last 6 league games there. Obviously, Glenn mentioned the 1-1. I think the win was in lockdown as well, which doesn't even count. For some reason, I wasn't here, but winning every game, it felt like. So it's a potential banana skin. But we're sort of brushing over the whole, Josh Sargent, he might be out of the game. I mean, you look at the team. I'm not an expert on Norwich, but he's the only player in there that has a real bit of X factor for me. The only player that I'd be really, really worried about from an individual point of view. And obviously, I know that he's got 7 goals a season, 6 of them came in the first 5 or whatever it is. He's obviously not been firing, but he's the one that Saints fans wanted to sign all summer. He was the man that we were saying spend 15 million quid and don't buy Damien Downs, buy Josh Sargent. I bet it'll be a lot cheaper next year. That's for sure. But yeah, so I think you've got to win. Obviously, that's the expectation. If they do, they'll probably be in the playoffs. And then you've got a week, and then it's obviously Coventry, the big one. But yeah, I mean, no illusions. I think it won't be easy. It could be a potential banana skin.
And just from our point of view, Rob, I guess the starting 11's got to be the same, but maybe with Jack Stephens coming in.
Yeah, I mean, don't change a winning team, really. I mean, if we were to make a change, then yeah, Jack Stephens coming in would be fine. I mean, Connor, you might be able to correct me here, but I don't see Norwich as a big athletic threat in the air. Obviously, we saw against West Brom how we struggled with corners. And in terms of looking at Norwich's team similar to Alfie, I don't see anyone there with like pure pace where we need Quasi on the pitch. So I wouldn't mind a level-headed, well, hopefully level-headed Jack Stephens in an away game. Like Norwich. I mean, for similar to what I said, to what Alfie said, really. I mean, we're going up against the seventh worst attack in the league. Norwich has scored the 7th least goals. Also one of the worst defences in the league as well, 22nd out of 24 in terms of goals conceded. So I would really like to see us start again bright in the first half. Kind of if we can get anywhere near we can to that 3-0 at halftime, which for some reason our players seem to love, that would be fantastic. And then if we can keep pushing on from there, that would be really nice. But I got no doubt that definitely this is Southampton we're talking about. Never do it easy. It could be a complete banana skin, especially with their talisman out. We've seen that script before, as Steve would say. But I'm really kind of looking forward to this one. I mean, it's hard not to when we're one of the best teams in the league at the moment. If you look over the last 10 games, and Norwich are one of the worst. So, I mean, potentially, there could be a big result for us, or it could be a banana skin. But I'm really hopeful, and I just hope that we see the Saints we saw in the first half yesterday, and we can keep going from there. A clean sheet would be magical, but Christmas wishes do come true sometimes, so we'll see. Yeah. We'll see.
You'll definitely get a couple of chances in the second half, though, Connor. We tend to hit off the gas in the second half, so all won't be lost at half time.
Well, I'll give you a stat on that to make you feel better, which is that Norwich have the worst second half performance in the league. So I think they've conceded more goals than anybody between the 46th and the 60th minute. So they're actually better in the first half. So I think actually if you took the league, which is completely irrelevant stat, but if you take the league as it was after the first half, Norwich would be 4th. And they're rock bottom for the second half. So there's a big difference in terms of their performance levels. So.
Maybe we'll just play 45 minutes Saturday lunchtime, and then everyone can get in the car and get home.
Good idea.
Just one more, Connor. Just correct me if I'm wrong. Is this Norwich's first season without parachute payments? Is this because this is
me? Yes, yes, it is. I believe yes.
Yeah, because we love a worst case scenario here. So we know Saints got the parachute payments for 2 years, basically this season and next season. So that is basically the window to that I'm sure the ownership have got to get us back into the Premier League and humiliate ourselves all over again, probably.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be a doom monger, but yeah, I mean, you can now put Norwich in the category of Stoke, Swansea, clubs who've just got it completely wrong when they got relegated. And you look at everything that Norwich have done; it's basically a handbook on what not to do in terms of. They've had 4 permanent head coaches. All of them have been different in terms of their style and their approach. There's been very little continuity in terms of their recruitment. You mentioned that draw with that David Wagner team. I can assure you Norwich fans were just as angry as that as you guys were.
Yeah, I know you were. It
was pretty horrendous.
I spoke to you about it afterwards.
Exactly. Yeah, we did actually, didn't we? Yeah, I remember. It was not the way that Norwich, in my opinion, should play in the Championship at home. But you look at the recruitment that season, and I think they had 11 players over 30. And now you look at where they are now, and they've gone completely in the opposite direction. It's one of the younger teams in the Championship. So just strategy, they're flip-flopped all over the place, and there's been no consistency, no continuity in it, no real willingness to follow an idea. And that has just meant they've chucked a load of money. I mean, £55 million since Ben Napper, who's the current sporting director, came in 2 years ago, is an indication of just how wrong it's gone to spend nearly 60 million quid on a squad and to be 23rd in the Championship, 5 points from safety is pretty disastrous by all accounts. So use Norwich very much as a warning of what can happen, particularly if you don't get it right. And that first year, I know it gets said a lot, but that first year really is the best opportunity.
Connor, was Russell Martin in with a shout at getting the job before Clement?
No, I don't think so.
Why not?
I think the opportunity would have been this summer, and they opted not to speak to him. I think the sporting director's not a massive fan, from what I gather. So I think that was a pretty key factor. So yeah, they were looking for a manager 3 months after their last one. He wasn't in the conversation in the summer, so I don't think he was ever seriously in the conversation this time around. I think it was more this time probably some window dressing with agents, just so it got pushed out there, because they got a bit of criticism in the summer from fans that they didn't speak to him.
Well, he was linked to us, and it was obvious from the minute one it came out that he was never going to come back. So
correct.
It's exactly the same, yeah.
Correct. And I mean, the thing is, because of what he's done here, and he's a legend here in terms of what he did as a player, and you can't dispute that, he's always going to get linked with this job every single time, no matter where he is in his managerial career, I think, to an extent. So, they opted not to. It still feels like at some point it will happen down the line. I think there's probably a degree of inevitability about it. But I think, this time around, he was probably too much of a risk for them at this stage, albeit they've still gone for a little bit of a risk in Philippe Clement.
Another thing for us to consider, mine, is obviously that Tom Fellows might well be out. We don't have an update. Tom doesn't know, but he'll presumably talk to us on Friday morning. And if Tom Fellows is out, it does leave only really one option to replace him, and that obviously is Ryan Fraser, unless you do a complete rethink of the team. So potential problem there. I mean, look, Ryan Fraser's an experienced player, but as Glenn says, the last couple of months hasn't been his friend, have they really? He started well, but
no.
Yeah.
And for the benefit of those that aren't watching the live stream, we're all just wincing then at the prospect of Fraser coming in. Connor, I'll let you go. I just want to get a score prediction from you first, please, if you don't mind. How do you think it might play out?
Yeah, who knows? Who knows? It could be anything, which I'm sure you guys get a lot. Norwich are improved, so I think it will be a more competitive game than it would have been a few weeks ago. I think Southampton, with the run of form they're on, the quality they've gone, will probably edge it. So I'll go 2-1 Southampton.
All right, nice one. Thanks for coming on. Really useful stuff, and we'll catch up with you later on in the season if that's all right.
No, pleasure. Thanks, guys.
Have a good Christmas.
About the dodgy Wi-Fi. Merry Christmas to you all.
Let's go around the screen and get some predictions. I must say, for the West Brom game, over 130 people entered our predictions league online. Ridiculously, 120 people went for the win. But even more ridiculously, only one person got the score right, and that was David Stokes. So take a bow, David, for correctly predicting that it was going to be 3-2. Rob, I'll give you the honour of going first. Score prediction for you, please.
Yeah, it's a tough one, really. I'm going to go 3-1. I think we'll score goals because, as I said, Norwich on form are, shocking. And also they're one of the worst defences in the league. And we're one of the best attacks in the league at the moment. So I don't see a reason why we can't go and score 3 goals away from home there. We need to make sure that obviously we start well. We can't afford the second half from West Brom to repeat itself. But I would see maybe Norwich popping up with a goal. I don't know where that will come from with Josh Sargent out, but I'm not quite comfortable predicting a clean sheet just yet. But no, really, really looking forward to it.
Good. Glenn, sounds like all the action might be in the first half. What do you reckon?
Yeah, Tom Fellows being fit or not being fit has a huge bearing on how I think this game is going to go, because
which we never would have said going back a few weeks.
No, because there will be a drop off of in terms of our whole attacking strategy. That one avenue will be more or less gone. And it's an important one, as we saw with the first goal. If Fellows plays, I'll go for a 3-1 win, but I've got a feeling he won't. So I'll go for a much more squeaky, not particularly brilliant, but 2-1 win.
2-1. And is it Friday morning, Alfie? That's when we find out this week, did you say?
Yeah, Tonda will give his press conference Friday morning. That's what he loves. He loves a Friday morning. I think they have Thursdays as a day off now, whereas it used to be press conference day on Thursday. And obviously he wants to get it done before training. So a nice little 9 a.m. start usually for us every Friday now. It's a lovely little treat.
An early start on... Are you driving up Friday night?
I'm getting a train up Friday morning, so I'll be there Friday night. I was about to say that there will be hundreds of people listening to this now who get up for work at 7 a.m. or earlier, and they will have zero sympathy for me, and I do appreciate that. That is fair enough. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think on the scoreline wise, I'll go for what Glenn didn't go for. I'll go for a 3-1 win, but I've not got anything right this season, so it doesn't really matter.
No. If you want to play along, all you need is your Patreon login. You'll find the leaderboard and how to play on the website. Just head over to totalsaints.co.uk.